Hello, and welcome to another Mayo Clinic virtual career tour. Today we are going to be highlighting the cardiac monitoring tech position. As this is being filmed in 2021, we will be wearing masks and abiding by social distancing guidelines. Thank you. Hi, Paula. How are you?
Great, great.
Good. Can you tell me a bit about your job here at Mayo Clinic?
Yep, I've been working here for 30 years, doing the
30
same
years.
thing. Yep. Back in 2014, Mayo went to home monitoring because insurances didn't want to pay for people to stay in the hospital anymore, so they come up with this, and we've been through a couple different kind of devices now. So now a patient can go home. We can watch them at home for 30 days, 24/7. Other than when they bathe, they take it up. They take it up when they do that, or go swimming, or because it's not waterproof. But it's become a huge thing at Mayo. Mayo is going enterprise wide with it now. So Arizona, Scottsdale, all the hospitals are going to have it, and we're going to have one unit, which is good. Every hospital's had their own unit. Now we're all going to have one unit.
Hi, Abe. How are you?
I'm good, doing well. How are you doing?
Good. Can you tell us a bit about the job you have here at Mayo Clinic?
So I'm a cardiac monitoring tech, and so what that entails is that means I'm watching people's heart rhythms. So this job specifically, we are given kind of a little pool of my own personal patients to kind of keep an eye on, and the kind of things I do throughout the day would include I might educate the people on how to use these monitors. I would tell them, I'd maybe do some troubleshooting with them if they're running into some issues with their monitor. And then there's a lot of communication that goes on between myself and our group and the doctors, because they'll have questions. How are their patients doing? What kind of rhythms are we seeing? So what I am is I'm a person who keeps an eye on the heart rhythms, and then I kind of communicate that information to the doctor so that they can prescribe medications, they can make diagnoses and stuff like that. I'm capable of jumping on with anybody else and helping them with their patients. There's a lot of teamwork involved, because sometimes I'll look at a rhythm and I'll think I know what I'm seeing, but I always like to have a second opinion. So I'll pull in other techs to say, hey, this is what I'm seeing. Is that what you're seeing too? So there's a lot of teamwork involved. But
So how do you monitor someone's heart remotely, I'm assuming, because right now we are in an office building?
Correct. So we have these cute little monitors that we send with people. They have a couple little wires that they attach to kind of stickers on their chest.
Uh-huh.
So they put the stickers on their chest, attach the wires, and then the device itself, that'll send us the heart rhythm over a cell network. So as long as we can get cell service, we can see what the person's heart is doing.
Oh, can I hold it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's not heavy at all.
No, it's only a couple ounces.
So how often do people wear this? Is it 24/7? Is it only when they're doing strenuous activity?
So this is a 24/7 thing. The only time I have them take this off is when they're swimming or when they're showering. So we can't submerge the device in water. But other than that, I expect them to try to wear it if possible. That includes things like exercising or, going through their job, sleeping at night. As much as possible, I try to see what the heart's doing.
Paula, can I see this machine?
Yes,
for a quick second?
certainly.
So I'm just curious. You have three prongs here.
Yeah.
Where do they go on the person?
So every one of them, when we educate them, we send them a packet of electrodes, and all these have a different writing. So like LL is considered our lower left, LA is your left arm, and right A is your right arm. So they literally just go on your chest like this, and then the lower one.
It's like I'm a DVD player.
You are like a DVD player, exactly. And they get to leave these stickers on their chest when they bathe. They just pull this off.
Okay.
So they never have to detach anything, really, other than they change a battery in the back once a day. That's it.
Okay.
The patches will come off over time, but we send them enough that they can just put it
And
back on.
this whole package, is it just mailed to them like an iPhone?
More or less, it comes we send it in a little case, and then we put it in a FedEx box, and then we send all the FedEx stuff with them. So all they do, when they're done, they put it all back in there. They call FedEx on the phone. We give them all the information they need. FedEx comes to their front door and picks it up.
Perfect. Since you've been here 30 plus years, can you tell me what is the biggest difference you've seen in home monitoring care?
Oh, I mean, when I started back 15 years ago, it was all older people that were in the hospital, typically men, and it was typically stress and things like that. Nowadays, I'm seeing 15, 16, 17-year-old kids.
Really?
It's either genetics or drugs. Drugs will play a lot to damage the heart and stuff like that. So what I found is back then, the people were in the hospital for X amount of days. Now the treatment has gotten so much better and the care is so much better that they're in and out in a day or so. And if the doctor feels that we need to watch you a little bit longer, if they do any type of a surgery where they might want to watch them longer, they go home on a home monitor. So from then to now is unbelievable. And what's going to happen even after I retire? Tons more, I'm sure. Tons more, I'm sure.
So do you go to the hospital and show these people how to put the machine on, or is it just virtual via the phone?
Right. We do it either way. Since before the pandemic, we hooked up a lot of people in person. We'd either go down to the Gonda building and hook them up, or we'd hook them up at the hospital. Either if they're in their patient's room, we'd hook them up there, or we had another site that we went to. When the pandemic hit, we decided, like everyone, learned tons of things. We can mail out almost everything now, and the education over the phone takes maybe 10 minutes, depending on.
Really, 10 minutes?
Yep. If you gotta, there'll be elderly people that might take a little bit longer, but generally, this new equipment we're going with right now, the training's not that long.
So since predominantly the user is an elderly person who wears this, do they normally wear it after surgery, or is it just after a general appointment?
A lot of it's after surgery, and a lot of it can be a patient will come into the hospital and just say they feel real fatigued, short of breath. I feel like when I exercise, my heart's going really fast. I can feel it. And instead of keeping them in the hospital and maybe running tons more tests that cost a lot of money, they'll say, let's put you on this monitor for 30 days and see what we can capture. So that's takes place of a lot of tests that they could have, because they can determine a lot, because they're going to watch their heart for that 30 days and see what's going on.
Do you think sometimes people, after they're wearing this and have to give it up, it's kind of like a crutch? They don't feel safe anymore?
I've had a lot of patients over the years tell me that, because a lot of these monitors can be worn like around your neck on a pouch, or you slip it on. And I'll have a lot of people say, I felt like God was watching me, because I didn't have to worry about anything. I knew somebody was watching me. It's like being in the hospital. So my suggestion was just, put a little small rock around your neck with a necklace, and you'll feel like you have us with you.
A little pet rock. Yeah, it'll be perfect.
Exactly. But yes, they do. They do feel the security when we're watching them for 30 days. I think the longest I've had somebody is probably 3 months I've had to wear it.
Oh, wow.
So sometimes they can extend it, and you can wear it longer, and it's just a little bit of paperwork we do and a little few clicks in the computer. But yeah, they can wear it as long as the doctor wants them to, or short as the doctor wants them to wear.
Because we're looking for maybe the progression of a disease. So we're looking for it to kind of get worse or to kind of get better, maybe as medication is affecting it. Sometimes you do get weird things like that, where you notice that you're exercising, but your heart's not changing like it's supposed to, or your heart's changing and you're not exercising. That's the other thing we see, is sometimes the heart rate goes way up, and the person's sitting at home watching TV, and you're like, okay, that doesn't make any sense.
And when I worked in the hospital, I've seen tons and tons of patients. And I had a patient. He was a stubborn farmer, and
Imagine that,
yep. And he had passed out, and he had broke his arm. So he went in, had surgery, and like, we need to let's keep you a few days, just to see if anything changes on your heart. So they had him on a cardiac floor for 1 week. We watched him. Our techs also watched that, and nothing happened. So they're like, well, we're going to send you home now, instead of keeping you here longer to see if something happens. So we'll put you on this home monitor. I went up and did the education. He's like, what is it going to take for me not to have to wear this for 30 days? And I said, just kiddingly, I said, well, go home and have something happen. Lo and behold, it did. In our night shift, that first night he went home, so his 6th night after he had surgery and passed out at home, he had a 7-second pause in the middle of the night. The techs caught it, called his primary doctor. He was in, had a pacemaker by 8 o'clock in the morning the next day.
Did he know his heart stopped?
No, he was sleeping. He was totally asleep. So if it wouldn't have been for this, not saying the man would have passed away, but his issues wouldn't have been fixed.
Yeah.
And he would have been maybe out working again or doing whatever.
Did he thank you?
Well, when the tech came and told me what had happened, I said, I got to go see this guy. Let me go see it, and I'll get his monitor from him, So I went up into his room, and I walked in the door, and he goes, Paula. I know. And I said, I really was kidding when I said go home and have something happen. I didn't realize it would happen the first night. But he's like, I have full trust in you guys now. Full trust in you guys. So it has done wonders. We do tons of neurology patients. We used to only do cardiac patients, but now we do just as many neurology patients. And people ask why you do neurology patients. Well, tons of people are having strokes, and they don't have a reason why. So the doctors are finding that maybe it has something to do with the heart. So when we started doing it, to be completely honest, I thought, why are we taking these people's money? Why are we doing this, And I can't tell you how many people we have found that have had a cardiac problem.
Oh.
That's why they had their stroke. And wearing this, they didn't even have to wear it the full 30, because within maybe a week, we were able to find out why they had it. They changed the meds. They could return this.
It's just astounding. A machine that's only a few ounces can give you all this information that you would have to stay in the hospital for weeks.
Yes, exactly.
How was the on-the-job training? Was it just a few weeks? Was it a few months?
It was a couple months. It included a classroom portion where you sit in class and you look at heart rhythms and you learn about the progression of heart rhythms. And then there's on-the-job training, and that's where you're working with another more senior tech who's been in this field for a while, and you're working with live patients. So you're taking that classroom experience of what does a heart rhythm look like on paper, and now what does it look like in the real world when a person's living and moving and brushing their teeth and things like that. And that changes. It looks different, and it's a lot more real once you get in the real world. And so there's on-the-job training too to get you up to speed before they kind of let you go on your own.
So I see you have a CRAT certification. Is that the certification you obtained for this position?
Yes, a CRAT certification is required for cardiac monitoring.
Okay, and do you have to do yearly, do you have to get that renewed every year, or is it just continuing education?
There's just continuing education. So it's every 3 years you gotta have a certain number of continuing education credits. But here at Mayo you can get those all sorts of different ways. We have class portions. We have doctors come in and give us kind of talks on different heart rhythms that they've been working with. We'll have online training. Sometimes there's even seminars and stuff you can go to get those CEUs.
Are the cardiac monitoring techs, are they based solely at this support site, or are they on campus downtown as well?
We have them all over. So they're at St. Mary's Hospital. They are at the Gonda building. They go through the Methodist Hospital. So yeah, we have cardiac techs, everywhere where we might have to keep an eye on someone's rhythm.
Okay. Have you had a chance to work at those sites as well?
I was at St. Mary's before I came here.
Okay. What is the biggest difference between the St. Mary's cardiac monitoring techs and being a remote cardiac monitoring tech?
So the first difference that I would say is really the hands-on approach. When you're at St. Mary's, you're working with patients who are currently in a hospital bed. So it's very hands-on. You go in, you talk to the patients face to face, and you're going to be putting the monitor on them, right there in the room. You're explaining how the stuff works. This is a lot more telephone-based, teleworking-based, but the exchange is that in the hospital, there's a lot more turnover of patients. Here, when you monitor one patient for 30 days, you get to know that patient, and you start to really get to know what is normal and abnormal for that person. So while I don't have as much patient interaction, I have a lot more of a kind of a relationship with the patients I have, and we talk to each other, and they know me by name, and they call for me, and we kind of get to know each other. It's kind of a really fun way to meet people and get not just their medical history, but their some of them will tell you their life history, and you're just in awe of what these people have gone through to get to this point.
Do you think, even though you don't have that hands-on experience, hands-on day-to-day activity with patients, you still are meeting the needs of Mayo's mission, the needs of the patient come first?
Yes, I definitely think so. With COVID, it's been very important to keep people at home, to not have people grouping together, and so having a monitor that we can send to people at home, that they can put on at home and then send back to us, it's a very safe system to keep people from having to come in for a short medical procedure here in the hospital. If we possibly can do it at home, we've been trying to move towards that. So yeah, it definitely meets the needs of the patient. It's also a very team-based approach. It's nice because we can relay to the doctors and stuff what we're seeing while they're at home, so the doctors can be more flexible to work with the patients that need to be in the hospital, while also having that kind of daily update on what's happening with their other patients.
Okay, and then just a quick question. How many patients use the device?
Currently, we're somewhere in the range of 200 to 300. That's a small end of the scale for us. We're going to be looking to grow as a department, but currently we have about 200 to 300 patients currently wearing the device. at home.
Are you all going to be based out of Rochester, or is there going to be remote monitoring techs in Arizona, Florida, the health system?
Good question. Right now, actually, we're doing it all because Arizona and Florida don't have staff for it. So we're covering it. We're doing a trial basis on it right now, a soft launch, so we see how everybody likes the device. We're running it all right now, and they're slowly adding people. So they're trying to hire people right now to do the job because they've never had it before. Mayo is the only one here in Rochester that has home monitoring.
That there is a field. There's an entire field. If you like the cardiac, if you like the medical side of things, you can go in education here. If you like working with other techs, you can go into management. There's a whole career option out here, and I honestly didn't even know about that until I got into it.
So you now know what it's like to be a career monitoring tech here at Mayo Clinic. So if you are interested in being at the forefront of telemedicine, please consider this position. Thank you.